Hello, this is Arsene Wenger and you are listening to Highbury and Heels.
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Highbury and Heels. It's number 16. I cannot believe we're up to number 16. So that lovely voice you heard in the background is my sister Sophie. Hello Soph.
Yo man, how's it going babe?
Good babe. Well, as they say in the business, it's a two-hander tonight. Oh,
hello sailor.
Did you like that one?
Yeah,
and I'm not in the business. But Sophia is away and so Seema got caught at work in the last 10 minutes. So
she's putting out fires, isn't she?
She is putting out Dubai fires. That's all I'm going to say. Did you hear her on WhatsApp? I just thought, I couldn't
hilarious.
work for Seema. Anyway, bless her. Yeah, it's just us, but really interesting. We're going to hear from the girls later around the prediction time, but what's brilliant is that we're going to have a little fan on the week on later. So it's something new for us. So this is very strange. But we've had 2 wins, Soph.
Dun, dun, dun.
Did you hear me? 2 clean sheets. And we've scored 5
Sorry,
goals.
I'm all the way in Colorado and I'm in the middle of the mountains. Did I hear you right? Did you just say we have 2 wins? I wasn't sure.
Yeah. On the trot. Within 4 days of each other. And we didn't concede a goal. So let's go straight into discussing AC Milan. So, Soph, did you manage to watch it?
I did. I managed to watch the game and I believe that I would like to know any Arsenal fan out there that predicted that we would play that way and Milan would play that badly after going 13 games unbeaten and having a resurgence under Gattuso. Amanda, I don't think a lot of us were expecting that, weren't we? We had all predicted a defeat, if I remember correctly, in our predictions on the last show.
There's no way I can sit here and go, I knew. I was just hoping that we'd get a goal, even if it was 4-1 to Milan. I did not see that coming. And if anyone says they did, I'm not sure I'd believe them. But you know what else, darling?
Tell me.
What colour kit were we wearing?
Oh gosh, here we go with the controversial we lose or we win because of the colour of our kit and our shorts. But with that said, your vehement disdain for that blue kit came up trumps, did it not?
I need to put a little caveat in here. I don't like blue and white shorts. That's my issue. I hated it. But all blue, as much as I don't like it, is not hated as much as blue with the white shorts. But we won in the blue kit. We won away from home. We didn't concede a goal. We've got 2 away goals. I'm not being funny. I mean, of the whole season, this has got to be one of the most exciting results apart from Spurs at home. I think...
Sorry, I didn't. I thought you were. I thought you had a pause there. Carry on, mate. I didn't mean that. Go on.
No, I was just
you were pausing.
Oh, I pause. And then I just go into one. You know what I'm like. But the defence stood firm, and we had teamwork. And
it was really unbelievable.
Yeah,
it really was, wasn't it? It was. You know what, Amanda? I think one of the things that not only have we killed the team, every Arsenal fan has killed the team and the media has killed the team, but to respond the way they did after losing to Brighton, I don't think any of us thought this team had that type of backbone in them. Do you? I mean, I really don't. As I said at the beginning of the show, nobody was predicting that type of performance and let alone beating Milan at the San Siro Stadium, which is also difficult to do no matter what Milan team you are facing. But to do it in the manner of which we did, and yes, they were poor, but when you look at it in the context of everything and how we've been playing and how we've been capitulating, we've got to give the boys credit for fighting back the way they did.
100%. I mean, what do you think this is going to do for their confidence now?
Well, I know we're going to get to the Watford game as well. And I know the Watford team we faced at the Emirates probably wasn't as good as the Watford team we faced earlier in the season when they beat us with their gigantic cojones. But I feel that every win counts. And even in life, right? You and I, you know, we have life conversations on WhatsApp and stuff. When something good happens, when you get a little win somewhere, it gives you that oomph and that jolt you need and that little bit of bounce and that little confidence to just keep on going, to take that next step. And I think that we've really got to stop and think about where they've come from and what they've done in the last 2 games. It's only 2 games. And if there's anything we can't do is get carried away with ourselves, especially with this team. But as we know and as we've seen, you know, winning breeds confidence. And this team now can keep going and keep moving forward and believe that they can play together as a squad, that they can put in good individual and collective performances, and that it's this time of year where we go on a little run in the league as well. Why not? I think they believe in themselves a little bit more over the last, you know, week or so.
I think there's been there's quite a few factors in all this, isn't there? Social media has a part to play in this. I think the fact that when you are slated so much by not only your own fans, but outside pundits, media, it's backs against the wall time, and you've got to show some cojones. I think we did. And I think, you know what? It's like a wounded lion, isn't it? You know, they come out fighting. I have to be honest, I didn't think they had it in them to do it. I thought that we would be all over the place. But, you know, honestly, for me, Mkhitaryan was fantastic. And to score his first Arsenal goal, you know, how important is that to his confidence? Because, you know, I have United fans telling me, yeah, he plays well, then he goes missing. He plays well, he goes missing. And I'm hoping that doesn't happen to him. But it did a bit. But to be fair, so did most of the team over the matches, haven't they? You know, the City match, Brighton, I don't even want to talk about. And I just feel that we've got to let Mickey, Aubameyang settle. You know, we can't expect them to be top gunners yet. It takes time. You know, Mkhitaryan's confidence was shot at United. You got Aubameyang playing in the German league. I just feel like we need to get them a bit more time, if you understand what I mean. So all I want to say is, going into the Watford game, what do you think that did for it?
I think there were so many milestones, and you were writing them down this morning and stuff, as we were prepping for the show. That game has more significance than just beating Watford, right? Because even Jack Wilshere had goaded Troy Deeney a little bit beforehand. And then obviously, you know, Bellerin's tweet after the game was brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And so going into that, there was more than just, you know, a test of character, you know, for the boys. I think it was, how can you bounce back not only from hitting rock bottom over the last few weeks, but also from what you were accused of not having by the captain of Watford, who became a hate figure for Arsenal fans. And the fact that they not only played well, dominated the game, responded in the first half especially. We did let Watford come much more into the game, didn't we? In the second half, they did have some good chances. But the milestones in that match, I think, have made it even more significant, which adds another layer of confidence to them as they go forward. So, I mean, why don't you rattle off the milestones from that match? It's really quite impressive. And I know it may sound like, oh, come on, guys, but those are the wins that we need right now. Those are the things that we need to, you know, take on and take forward. And I think it's really important.
Well, I can read them off for you, yeah? We have Petr Cech, who saved a penalty for the first time ever in Arsenal's history. I have to say that, Arsenal's history. Unbelievable. Against Troy Deeney. The irony, honestly. I mean, when I watched it, I normally go, yeah, he'll save this, no, he won't. I don't bother anymore because it's Cech. But honestly, I think we celebrated more that he saved it than we didn't score a goal, if you understand what I mean. We just, the whole ground went nuts. You know, and his 200th clean sheet that we've been weeks and weeks desperate for him to get. But one of my favourites, Mesut Ozil, has become the fastest player to reach 50 Premier League assists doing so in just 141 games and breaking the record previously held by Eric Cantona. He did it in 143 games. Now, anyone listening to this pod or to me over the years knows what I think about him. Honestly, has he played well lately? No, he hasn't. But the last couple of games, I've just loved him. I feel with him, we all need to be on it. He's on it. But do you understand what I'm saying by this? You know what I mean?
He's a confidence player.
Yeah.
He's a confidence player.
He is just sublime and pure class. Absolutely. I just love him, Sophie. You know what I feel about him?
Well, I know you and Sophia fight over him a lot for who has the most affection for Ozil. And, you know, he's definitely, when he's on his game, he's one of the best. And when he's not, he's awful. And that's why a lot of people have question marks against him when it comes to labeling him a world-class player. He's definitely a player that exceeds his own expectations when he's surrounded by better players. But to see him take on that mantle, and I think what's really juicy about this is we started to see especially in the game at the weekend, the combination between Ozil, Aubameyang and Mkhitaryan, and what that might look like for us next season, especially. And I feel like I'm really super excited about that. We were having a conversation on WhatsApp about the combo play between Aubameyang and Mkhitaryan. Those two are, you know, brothers from another mother. They just have a whole other layer of, they get each other. And I think that's really important for us to have that type of camaraderie and connection in the team, because that's only going to infuse Ozil, with more power. And you were able to see in Watford, they all take players with them. So spaces open up even more so, you know.
Agree, yeah.
And I thought that, you know, the combination play, I was really super excited about that. The penalty save, I thought, Amanda, I felt he was going to save it. I never do, like you and like every other gooner out there, but there was something about it, something in the air on Sunday where you felt that he was. And I'm in Colorado with my big fat Greek family sitting in a room full of Spurs fans. Can you believe it? The pain of it all. Jeez.
Oh, don't.
And I was just keeping my fingers crossed. I'm like, please don't lose, because I can't take the abuse after. It goes beyond banter and it borders on abuse. So, you know, for all of those things, I thought, you know, it was a very important game for us.
Also, interestingly, on Highbury Hills, on our at Highbury Hills on Twitter, we often put polls out and we never mention them. But you know what? We did a poll yesterday morning on the morning of the game to see what fans thought, because obviously in the league we're not great. I was going to say another word. I know we'd beaten Milan, but interestingly, this is what the poll came out. We had 115 votes. So the win was 79%, the lose was 10% and draw 11. So people were feeling confident out there.
Because I think it's because of our performance at the San Siro. And I think, you know, again, if we'd have lost that match, I think that the results of that poll would have been very, very different. Look, did we have moments in the Watford game that were still worrying at the back? Yes, but had Cech, I think you could tell his experience and how he drew from that, because he was much, much better. And I feel like, you know, he upped his game and he saved us on a few occasions. But think about, you know, Rob Holding had to come into the game. I thought he did pretty well, didn't you? And we lost Mustafi as well. So again, we had a bit of a makeshift. We didn't have Bellerin. And Kolasinac, you know, again, hadn't played as many games as Monreal being that first choice. So with that considered, we usually would capitulate and we didn't. And I think, again, another positive to take from.
I'd also like to say a big shout out to El Neni.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, where that came from, and lovely on social media, everyone was raving about him. You know, I remember watching his debut for us and I liked him straight away, but he gets such bad press from our fans and the media. And I think that we've got a player there. I think we
listen, Amanda. I feel like I'm blown away by. What do you think has happened in the last couple of games? Is it because he's been given his chance and he's finally taken it, because he's had it before and he hasn't taken it? What do you think it is?
I don't know if he's, as I said at the beginning, we've got to let players settle. I don't know. You know, he's in and out. He's not a regular. Maybe his confidence is growing. I don't know, Soph. No one will know. He just had a great game. He really did. And, you know, Watford came to play football. They're our bogey side as well at home. And I just felt, if we come out like that, we are capable of beating anyone. I felt like our old Arsenal was back the last couple of games, like defended as a team as well. And I felt like someone had a word, maybe with Xhaka or something, but I'll say this, he's not playing in his right position, and I think we have a player there that isn't as bad as everyone thinks. But hey-ho, we're not going to go into the Xhaka thing.
You know what? You brought up something really important. I wanted to see what you thought about this. Do you think it's the player meeting that has finally taken effect? Do you think that Wenger, because we know Wenger's not a talk kind of guy, he's not a half-time talk kind of guy either. Do you think it's that player meeting that they really looked at themselves? And we're seeing the results of it now? Yeah,
because as much as, you know, they may not be Arsenal through and through, as much as, you know, they may not have come through the academy, and as much as they're earning 100, 200, 300 grand a week, they still want to win. Okay, they still want to play football and win games. No one wants to come off that pitch to booze. No one wants to go home and read social media, and no one wants to read the media the next day. You know, I don't know what goes on. I don't imagine he's the sort of throwing the teacups around and smashing it on walls. I don't think he's that sort of manager. I don't want to get into Arsene Wenger because this could go on all night. But what I do feel is he owed him. The team owed him as well, as much as I've always blamed him because he picks the team, he buys the players, he trains the players. We've got 11 professionals on that pitch that weren't doing a job, okay, for a long time. So I became more focused on the team here because as much as, you know, to me, it doesn't look like he's lost the dressing room. I still think if they respect him. But what I would say is, me and you in our jobs, if our boss goes at us or the public, because I deal with the public, I'd want to show them, even if I earn £10 an hour. So it could be the fact that, as I said, the wounded animal, the wounded lion, they just came out fighting. And remember, AC Milan to lose out there, it's the end of our season.
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone says. Harry Kane went off injured and they still scored 4 goals. So we're not catching Tottenham. I can't see it, and I know I'm going to get lambasted for this. We're not on our normal run. You understand what I mean? We're not. We haven't started in January picking up every game and all of a sudden we're third. We're not. And I think we're going to be 5th or 6th, and I think we do have to be concerned about Burnley because they're playing for fun at the moment. But what I would say is it's nice. This is 2 games on the trot now. This is 2 games on the trot.
Yep. Definitely. And I think that, you know, they just have to carry on the momentum, keep it going. You know, let's continue seeing underperformers perform the way they have in the last couple of matches. I mean, the passing was so much better, even from Xhaka. The El Neni-Xhaka partnership seemed to work really well. El Neni's passing was great, but what El Neni does really well is track back, and he really supported players like Rob Holding. You know, there are a couple of moments where, you know, he really had to be that conduit and that bit, you know, that protection. And I thought that he did that, you know, really, really well. It was good to see Mkhitaryan again, you know, having 2 consistent games in a row. Aubameyang getting his 3rd goal. Ozil looking like he was having fun out there. And it's true what you say. You know, footballers get a lot of slack. They get ribbed a lot because, oh, you earn so much and you don't care. They do care. You know, these are men and they care. They care about their perception. They care about, and how we see them as fans. And I will say one thing before you go into the next segment is, actually, I'll wait for that. I'll mention it when we do our social media bit because it's really important. And I was having a bit of back and forth with our friends over at the Clock End podcast last night. And, I'll bring that up in a little bit. How about that?
Okay. No worries. Okay, so here we go. This is my favourite segment. This is my 89-second rant.
I thought Snog, Marry, Avoid was your favourite segment.
Yeah, ish. Yeah. Because this is me, 89 seconds without being interrupted. Seriously.
Right, let me get my stop clock out. Hold on 1 second. just adjusting over here. Now, unfortunately, because I'm on location, I don't have my famous cowbell with me. All right? Okay. So you're without the cowbell. So when you're ready to go with your 89-second rant, you let me know and I will hit start. All right?
Okay. Start.
Go.
Right. I really want to get this out here. Do I want Arsene Wenger to leave? Absolutely. Do I want Arsenal to win every game? Yes. Regardless if it means getting Arsene Wenger to leave sooner. The only way I wouldn't want Arsenal to win every game if it stopped Tottenham winning the league. Apart from that, never, ever in my lifetime do I ever want us to lose a game. Now, I put a tweet out on the morning of the AC Milan game, and I said, for anyone that, let me just put this to you. I can't remember the exact tweet, but let me put this to you. I said to everyone, if anyone knows me and knows me since I've been going to Highbury since I was 4 years old, I have never ever wanted Arsenal to lose. Anyone that wants Arsenal to lose tonight in Europe against AC Milan has to unfollow me now and look at yourselves and be ashamed. Because at the end of the day, we're Arsenal fans and we're here to win. I would, as I said, if we were it stops Tottenham, I would allow us to lose 10-0. But no way on earth. You're an Arsenal fan through and through. You should never ever want your team to lose, apart from that caveat, as I've said. So I had many, many replies on this. I would say 90%.
Stop the clock! Stop the clock!
No one's going to know what they said about the replies.
You carry on, because this is actually really important.
Okay, let me carry on. It's not really a 89-second rant. I will finish it in a moment, people. I just want to say that 90% I would say were bang on, spot on with me, just said abso-friggin-lutely. There was about 10%. I think I had about 400 or 500 likes on it and about 100 retweets or whatever it was. And people were saying, if there's a means to an end, I will lose every game to get him out. This is what our club has come to, and it's sad. I'm not in that camp. The problem was then, people that wanted Arsene Wenger to stay who didn't know me thought I was in that camp. No, I want to put it out there. I want the man to leave holding the Europa Cup in Lyon, Tottenham finishing 5th, and him to go, thanks for the memories. That, to me, would be football porn.
Oh man, I'm totally in. Listen, you can never want your team to lose. And I think the empty seats at the weekend, there's fans that agree with that and there's fans that disagree with that. And actually what I was going to mention earlier, was the Aubameyang comment. And that's what I was going back and forth with people on Twitter.
Mkhitaryan. You mean Mkhitaryan?
Mkhitaryan. Yeah. Sorry. Thanks for correcting me. Because I felt that, listen, fans have every right to exercise their thoughts. They have every right when they pay the highest ticket price in the land. They have every right to exercise their thoughts with coming to the game or staying away from the game. Now, does it look good? Absolutely not. Is it slightly embarrassing? Yes, for a club like Arsenal. Should you support your team come rain or shine? 100%. Now, if Ozil had come out or Cech had come out with Mkhitaryan's comments, maybe I would have digested them a little bit differently, Amanda. But it goes back to what you were saying too, is you always want your team to win and you always want to support your team, no matter what. I felt like Mkhitaryan's been here 5 minutes, okay? And when he mentioned what he did about we play for the fans who come to see us, you know, whether we win or lose, or whatever it is he was saying, I was like, hold on a second. You don't know the pain of an Arsenal fan yet. And I love Mickey. I think I'm so excited that he's at the club. And I'm really, I think that he could become one of our best number 7s if he plays up to his potential. And I think he's fit in really well already. But he doesn't really understand the Arsenal culture, especially that of a fan yet. It's not just this season. This has been building up season after season. And now fans are exercising their right and they want their voice heard when they've tried to support the team through and through for the last 5 years. And I felt like, steady on, son. You've only been wearing the shirt for a couple of months. I'm not sure you should be taking shots at fans just yet. Why didn't you take shots at Man United fans who have a stadium full of people week in, week out that was quieter than our half-full stadium the other day? You know, I felt like that. Simmer down. Do you agree or disagree with me on that one?
I think, yeah, but I think because he's new, I don't think he knows the history of the last 10 years, to be honest. And I sort of, I'm torn with this. I'm not with you on it, but I am. If you get, there's a part I do understand and I do agree, but there's also a part where you don't go and support your team and stop supporting your team because they're shit, I'm afraid. You go constantly. But I know people that have stopped, and that's their prerogative, and I understand why they've stopped. There was a point where I wanted to stop 2 weeks ago. I was so bored and fed up with it all. But you've got to go and support them. The empty seats is a problem. Okay. It's now being discussed about in the media. Other fans are talking about it. Man United and Man City fans don't stop going on about Man City and the empty seats for years. And I've always said to them, us and Tottenham never discuss it. Meanwhile, now we don't stop discussing it.
But you and Sophia said yourselves on last week's show, if it continued like this, like we've seen against Brighton and, you know, and all the other games that we've lost, that you wouldn't renew your season ticket next year.
No, what I said was I'd renew, but I'd rent it out. I can't watch Finger again. Yeah, I know I'm a little bit hypocritical. I'm talking about at the moment. I will make my decision in May. Okay, if he doesn't buy it, if he doesn't buy what we need, if he's still there, I will make my decision. My love for the club goes so deep that when I said that last week, I was absolutely on the floor. And I know it's going to come back to haunt me if I do go next season. Can I see myself not going? I don't know. I admit that.
So you said that in the heat of the moment,
I think
probably.
I said it more because I was angry and upset, and you do say things, and I'll always hold my hands up when I'm wrong. I'm not denying I didn't say it. I don't know if I can watch another season of Wenger. I have to be honest. Would I put myself out and go to every single game? I don't know, but you see, that's where I'm becoming hypocritical, because there's a part of me going, you support your team and you go every week, but I understand the people that don't. I'm in both camps, weirdly. So I'm really sorry, I can't give you a definitive on it.
Yeah, I just think that if one of the more longer term players had said it, I think I would have, as I said, I would have taken it a little bit differently. I would have probably listened to it a little bit differently. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. Maybe our Highbury and Hills listeners can let us know at Highbury Hills on Twitter what you think, and at Highbury Hills on YouTube, and how Highbury and Hills on Facebook. Get stuck in, have your voice heard, and let us know whether you agree or disagree with us on this one. I just think, it was a bit premature for him to make those comments. Okay, so as you know, we love hearing from you, and we love you guys being part of our show. Without you, Highbury and Hills does not exist. And the interaction and the banter and your comments. We've got so many smart listeners who love Arsenal Football Club and love football. As you know, on our podcast, we have people from all walks of life on it, and we're really happy to introduce a new segment to the show because sometimes we have guests on, sometimes we don't, and when we don't have guests on, we want you guys to be our guests. And so we're introducing our new segment, Fan of the Week. If you want to be a Fan of the Week on Highbury and Hills, you have to hit us up on Twitter, but in the old school 140 character version of Twitter, not the new everyone can write a paragraph and a story version, and let us know why you deserve to be on the show and have a hangout with the Highbury and Hills squad and talk football. So if you want to be our Fan of the Week, that's what you got to do.
Absolutely fantastic. And I'd like to welcome our Fan of the Week. So, as Sophie just said, we've got a Fan on the Week on, and we're so excited. This is our first, non-celebrity guest, I suppose. So, I'd like to welcome 35-year-old professional musician, drummer and percussionist, Demian Arriaga.
Woo! Welcome
Thank
to the
you
show,
so much.
Demian. And Amanda did not butcher your name, unlike ex-Arsenal players and current Arsenal players. So you
That's right.
Already in the unique club.
Big up to me. Big up.
I feel so privileged. Thank you so much. Not only for getting my name right, which my mom has actually mistaken in the past, but I appreciate it. So good to be here with you, ladies.
Right.
Yeah,
so
welcome.
what we're going to do, we want to know about you. Okay. So just give us a short summary of where you were born, where you live, and your love for Arsenal.
Fantastic. Well, I was born and raised in Caracas, Venezuela, and I grew up watching Dutch soccer or Dutch football, I should say, with my grandma at the time. It was basically the only thing they would show on TV was national teams. And then eventually I fell in love with the sport through Barcelona and other things. And then I watched the 1998 World Cup, and I saw Dennis Bergkamp be the greatest player in the world. And I fell in love with him, and then eventually with Arsenal. But sort of backtracking a little bit, I'm a professional musician. I play drums, and I've been doing that professionally for about 15 or 20 years. And it's a beautiful, beautiful life that I get to play with some of my idols and travel. And
Demian, tell us who. Demian, tell us who you play for.
Yes. Well, I currently play drums for Nick Jonas, former Jonas brother. And I also played with the Jonas Brothers, and I've done stuff with Iggy Azalea in the past, and also in the rock world, where I actually got to tour England with a guitar player by the name of Richie Kotzen. And I used to play with this guy, Gary Sharon, who sang in the band Extreme, famous for their song More Than Words, among many others. And a couple other people, Demi Levato, and a couple others through my career.
That's very, very cool. So, Amanda, he is kind of a mini celebrity.
Isn't he? He's more of a celebrity than I realised. Oh, my life.
Definitely.
I think my bank account would say otherwise, but I'll
join the club, mate.
I have definitely played with some people that are considered celebrities for sure.
Okay, so one of the things that I'd like to ask you is your stateside. Okay, how does it feel watching a game over there? And have you ever been to Highbury or the Emirates? Have you ever got over here?
That's like my biggest regret in life. When they say like, oh, you shouldn't have regrets. Well, I do regret spending my college years spending money on fast food and cigarettes and not saving up to go to Highbury. And so I never went, but I did go when I was on tour. I went to the Emirates, and I went on a tour on my own, which was one of the most beautiful days of my life, just walking down London, listening to the Smiths and listening to the Clash. And it was just like a very private, personal thing. And I got to tour the Emirates, and it was the most beautiful thing I ever seen. But I've never watched them play. And it's something that I dream of doing. But I am also kind of in this like sort of boycotting process where I don't want to spend any of my money right now until I feel things change. So it's my way of protesting, I guess.
So of all the current squad, then, I mean, Dennis Bergkamp, he makes all of our hearts melt, doesn't he? Just hearing his name just makes your mouth water. But of the current squad, which player do you love? Who's your favorite?
Oh, that's such a tough question. I was thinking about it. I was dreading you to ask me this, but I love Hector Bellerin. I like him a lot. I know he's gotten a lot of stick recently, but I really like him. I think I have a problem with liking people and more than liking them as players. Like I feel like I know these people, which is completely false, but I like him. I like his speed. I like that I'm 5'6", so I like little guys. So yeah, I would say he's my favorite right now. Like I'm not in love with Ozil. I'm not in love with a lot of the other players that a lot of people like. I do love Aubameyang. I like his speed. He's a good finisher. And I loved Giroud, actually. I really, really love Olivier. I just felt like he loved the club, and I feel we missed some of that here and there.
Oh yeah, totally agree with you. I tried to get GQ Giroud, #GQ Giroud trending for 3 years, yes. And it never quite got off. You and our boy, our mate Mike at You and My Arsenal tried helping me a few times. We're going to get to Bellerin in a minute. I think Amanda's got one for you on that. But real quick before we do, are you a Wenger in or out person?
I am a Wenger out person for several reasons, but I'll preface it by saying I'll be as quickly as I can. I don't think it's my business to tell a fellow professional or a professional or anybody for that matter that they should leave their job, their livelihood. They have priorities. They have families to take care of. So I do take that very seriously. But with that said, I do feel like there should be a change in the club that I love so much. And I feel for the fans that pay and they go to the stadium every week or every other week. And all I can do is not buy a shirt or a jersey. And the other thing that I can do is basically not wake up at 4 a.m. to watch the games. That's like my way of boycotting or protesting. But the guys and the girls that pay, that really suffer, that really bothers me. And I feel that they need change even more than me, like selfishly speaking. You know, I think, yes, I am a Wenger out person as much as I wanted to avoid not saying that he should stay.
The fact that you work with pop bands and you know, what I want to get to is something that happened to Hector Bellerin this week, and I'm not sure how I feel about this. I'll explain in case you don't know. Bellerin hasn't had a great time of it. There was the Arsenal Fan TV issue. He was, you know, he's quite vocal on Twitter and social media. As one of the away games, I think it was Brighton away, I'm not sure, there was young kids in the crowd that were going, Bellerin, I want your shirt. Bellerin, I want your shirt. He did an absolutely lovely thing. He picked it out on social media. He tried to find them, and he did. He went to their house and surprised them, bought them lots of gifts, like signed their tops, and he played, you know, Mario Kart with them or whatever it was. And he filmed it all and he put it on social media. Now, my feeling is, did he need to publicise it? I'm going to ask you, Soph. I'm going to ask Demian. What would you think on that? Because if say one of your, I don't know, Demi Levato or Nick Jonas saw it in the crowd and he did that, would they publicise that for everyone to see, or would it be done in a private matter?
Well, that's an interesting question. I think the difference between somebody like Nick or any of the artists and Hector is that the artists, they represent themselves and they are the brand, and that's it. And to some degree, Hector is, for all intents and purposes, an employee, and he might have another reasoning behind publicizing that, maybe trying to unify the crowd, maybe to explain to people that we do care and put out a good face for the brand that is Arsenal, or maybe some of his sponsors and so on and so forth. So maybe he did feel a way, like I'd rather him do something that could be seen as positive than anything else that's drama related or drugs or a night out getting drunk or whatnot. So the sort of cynic, almost like positive person in me thinks that it was a good thing. But was there a need to do that? No, not necessarily. You don't need to publicize every good deed necessarily. But again, I rate him, I like him, and I didn't personally have a problem with him doing that.
Okay. I'm not a cynic, and I loved it, to be honest. I thought it was lovely. I loved watching it and everything, but I'm not cynical, and lots of people are. Soph, what do you think?
Well, having been in film and TV PR for most of my career, I think that sometimes celebrities and sports athletes get a really tough time because we start to see them as not human. And I think that sometimes along the way, they do things that humanize them, and it makes you get a real sense of the person. And I think that sometimes we rag on these people because you don't see them doing enough for charity, or you don't see them helping kids. And so Bellerin's kind of damned if he does, and he's damned if he does. He does an amazing interview with, Oxford University, a half-hour stuff that was enriched with great content, really interesting, deep layered thoughts that elevated him from just being a footballer into a human being. And what he did with the kids, I thought that was fantastic. And I want to see more of that kind of stuff, because we always complain that there's a disconnect between fans and players, and that the distance between us just grows farther and farther. And here he is in his trainers and his jeans and his sweatshirt, and he goes over to these kids' house. And the thing that's most important about this for me is not so much what Bellerin did, but the memory he's created for those children and that family. They will never, ever forget that. And that will probably be one of the single most, best moments of their life. And I love what he did, and I would love to see more of that. So yes, 2 thumbs up from me from Hector.
Okay, so I went to 2 events that I've not spoken about, but they've been in the media, and they've been in the media because of ex-Arsenal players. First one, I was invited to the Arsenal Fan TV event. It was their 5th year anniversary. It was lovely. I really enjoy everyone's company. I love meeting all Arsenal fans. Obviously, there's the characters. And Robbie and I are pretty good friends. What happened there was so interesting. First of all, Ian Wright was the ex-Arsenal that was there. He got up on stage. And honestly, he was so emotional. It was amazing. Whatever's been put in the media, I was there watching. Okay. He gets very upset because he gets abused on social media, but he loves that club just as much as me, you, Demian. He loves it. And it hurts him that we're not doing very well. And when it hurts, you come out with things, you fight, you attack. It's what happens. You defend. Because at the end of the day, he played for that club and he loves that club and he has every right to say what he thinks, much more than any of us. Mm-hmm. And I just feel that when I watched him, he was so emotional. I welled up. I'm a massive fan of his and he knows that. And everyone knows that. He is my hero from that time. I just feel that I feel people need to be a bit more respectful on social media. I love the event. I'd like to thank Robbie for inviting me. But let's go on to the next event I went to. I seem to be everywhere. Such a social butterfly. I'm a member of the AST.
At you,
I know.
Look at you.
Ooh, you fancy.
They don't call me Princess Guna for nothing.
I am.
No, anyone can go to the AST. It's not that I was invited. I'm a member of it. And they hold meetings on a Monday night, I don't know, once every 6 weeks. Haven't been able to go for a long time, but the guest this time was Lee Dixon. And I was over the moon because we've had Lee Dixon on our podcast and the 89 film and the fact he played in the 89 team. I got it in. And
that's the 89th time she's mentioned it, Demian. The 89th time since we've started.
Anyway,
I've heard all 89 of them.
Good, because there's going to be another 899 of them. And it was really interesting. And he got up and spoke, and he was asked questions, and he spoke honestly, absolutely 100% honestly, about how he felt. He was talking about his position and whoever plays in it. He was talking about Bellerin. He was talking about Mustafi, and if anyone has a right to talk about defenders, he does. And we weren't at that moment up to that. It was a couple of days before Milan. We weren't very good. I had no issues with what he was saying. What I did have an issue with, and I should have made my rant about this, was the fact that someone at that meeting videoed him saying and posted it on social media for their 15 seconds. Very, very disrespectful of Dixon. It was a meeting. I tweeted a couple of bits. Then when they asked us not to tweet, I stopped. I just feel, I'm going to ask you this, Demian. Do you understand where I'm coming from? That now, what other players are going to come out and speak for fear of this? I didn't even know it was being filmed on a video, on a phone. And it was uploaded within a couple of hours of us leaving, and all hell let loose. And he had to defend himself. You work, both of you actually are in, TV, film, whatever, with celebrities. What do you think about that?
I mean, I personally love when players speak about the club because it means they care, right? And sort of backtracking briefly, when you mentioned about fans and getting angry and all that stuff, I think we need to listen to people. We need to learn to take criticism. And I'm obsessed with Talk Sport, and I listen to all those guys, and that's how I fell in love with your show, was through listening to Sophie on the two mics.
Oh, she's brilliant on it. She's brilliant.
And I hear, like people just hate Adrian Durham, and they hate Andy Goldstein and Jason Cundy, but they speak the truth. They say things that, they're the same things that Lee Dixon is saying, the same things that Ian Wright is saying. And we tend to listen and be so defensive. But in reality, it seems, if you listen to it objectively, if you don't know who the quote is from, they want the best for the club. And I think we need to learn to embrace that thing. And one of the things that I dream about, maybe because of the Dutch sort of football that I grew up watching, is this idea of ex-players working in the club, in and out all the time. And I would love to see Lee Dixon and Ian Wright and Ray Parler and all these guys that I grew up idolizing the same way that Ajax does it, when they have this sort of line of succession that is just absolutely incredible. And I don't know why we can't be that club. You know, if we want to be unique on having a manager for over 20 years, okay, great. Why don't we do now something different that is unlike what everybody else is doing, and we do it our way, and maybe we shift the way we do things, but it's still our way, and it'll be our way because we have the DNA of players that know exactly what that means.
I completely agree with everything Demian just said. I think that in order for the club to have that culture and that history, you do need ex-players being part of it. Look, Steven Gerrard's gone back to Liverpool. Michael Carrick announced his retirement today, and he's going to take up a coaching role at Manchester United. We all know that potentially Frank Lampard might go back to Chelsea. We let Arteta go to City. We should have kept Arteta at our club. And he's a more modern day player that we all fell in love with. The way he represented the club, the way he captained our club, just a classy guy all the way around. And Wrighty and Dixon, when they speak about Arsenal, they don't do it because they're trying to get clicks and sound bites and be in the news. They do it because they played for the man, and they have so much respect for him, and they've seen the peaks and troughs. And so, I think that, we've said it before and we'll say it again. It's important that players like Pires are there, and we need a little bit more of that. And going into the future, if Wenger does step down at any point, having that part of our history ingrained in the club with new players like Mkhitaryan, who I ragged on just a little bit earlier, to understand what it means to wear the shirt, but wear it with pride, but also understand what 89 meant, what the Invincibles era meant, how we've been through difficult times, how we are one of the greatest teams the Premier League has seen, regardless of where we've been in the last few seasons. We've still won 3 FA Cups in 4 years. So with all that said, yes, it's important for players to be part of the club, but it's also important for the right players to be part of the club, Amanda.
My views on it, I think at the end of the day, he's ruined it, that guy, for 15 seconds of fame. I was really pissed off, to be honest. I was upset, because if I was an ex-legend now, I'd be off social media and I'd never talk to anyone again. What can I say? I was there when it happened, and I know the guy that did it, and he actually interrupted quite a bit. His questions were quite valid, to be honest, and none of us knew what was going on. Just really disappointed, to be honest. Yeah.
Well, I just think these things happen, and you got to move on. And I think that the fans know, who's talking for their 15 minutes and who is talking to kind of really create change or make valid points. So, it is what it is.
Yeah. And also it's 2018, maybe if this happened 10 years ago, even 6 years ago, not everybody had a smartphone, but now it's almost a given that anything and everything you're ever going to do is going to be recorded. Okay.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? When I was growing up in the 80s, we didn't have this. Right. Okay, you two. We've got a new little segment coming up. We're going to do football news of the week. I don't know what tune we're going to put in, but that's our tune. We're not really professional on this. We just sit on this podcast and chat like we're fans, and that's what we do. So, Soph, Jack Wilshere, reckon he's going to sign or what?
Well, I'd also like to say I'd like to consider myself a professional, but yes, fine, whatever. Sure, fine, why not? Jack Wilshere. So we're going to fire through this next segment. Jack Wilshere, I think that he needs to recognise where he's been. I think he needs to understand where he's going. And I think that he's seen a lot of players get their salary bumped up. I feel like we're in the similar situation we were when Nasri left and Walcott got a chunk of change. And I think that, Jack Wilshere is important to the club, and I hope that things do, he gets the deal that he wants, but I don't think the club should break the bank to keep him. He's been broken for many years. It's the first season he's played in for a long time consistently. But do I think he deserves a new contract? Yes. Does he deserve a pay rise? No. I think he should play for the same amount of money for the next year, and then we see where it goes.
Okay. Demian, Hector has had a bit of interest from Juve. What do you reckon on that one? Juve, not Juve.
Well, I think it's a compliment and he should see it that way, but I think he should definitely stay and work with the next manager and the next set of coaches that are going to basically get the best out of him, I believe and I hope. And he can be our captain and he can be a leader in the club.
Okay, so talking about Juve, one of my favourite nights of viewing last week was Wednesday night when Spurs played at Wembley.
And went all Spursy.
Right.
Against Juve. Now, just going on a serious note, just a little bit. You know, if this was Wenger, fans would be calling for Poch's head as such. He's not won many trophies. He keeps telling fans to be patient. So, you know what I'm going with this, don't you? How many more years I think he's a great manager. I think what Spurs are doing is fantastic. I think they're miles ahead of us at the moment. But they went all Spursy.
I think he has every right to tell fans to be patient. I mean, look where Spurs have been and where they're going to. They've finished in the league and exceeded expectations. But now it is time for this team that is lauded by the media darlings. If they don't win the FA Cup, I think it's going to be a massive failure. And going into a new stadium, asking fans to pay those kinds of prices asking fans to be patient, I feel like that would be a complete and utter disaster for them. And now they've lost Harry Kane, but like you said, they still scored 4 goals. But they need to do that between now and the rest of the season, depending on his fitness, of course. But yeah, I think they have to win something this year. And if they don't win the FA Cup, massive failure for me.
Yeah, and also they're not going to be as high in the league as they were last year, possibly. I know it's only March, but it's looking like that. But what was fantastic, Soph, was Chiellini's excellent comments after. Have you heard this, Demian? So have you heard what he said? Oh, how brilliant is this? I'm not being funny. He couldn't put any more love into Arsenal's hearts. When he said they get to this stage and they sort of blow it. That's in effect what he was saying. There's no history. They're not surprised. I loved it. Okay, so let's just move on slightly.
Listen, real quick, I'm hoping that he said that because in the future he wants to play for Arsenal, right?
Ooh,
Demian?
Absolutely. Oh my God. You know, it's something really funny that happens to us international Arsenal fans or fans of the sport in general. In Venezuela, we didn't really have that great of a club team. So you support a team in Spain, a team in Italy, another team in England, and so on and so forth. And the team I loved was Juve growing up in Italy and or growing up in Venezuela, the Italian team I liked. And Chiellini has become my favorite Juve player for the past, 7 years or so. And I dream of him playing for us. I think he would be a dream signing. And I think he's going to be an incredible manager when he eventually hangs up with the boots, you know?
Yep. Agree.
Okay, so we're just that's been lovely. We've had a bit of a laugh and stuff like that. But in the news, in the last 48 hours, it's broken that Jamie Carragher, and we've seen the video, and he's been on Sky News today, was driving along a motorway when certain events happened, and he spat at another driver and a child in the car. Obviously, we can't discuss exactly if it all happened because things get edited, as we know, in life. But it does seem to me that if he's come out and made an apology today, that it's probably true. Now, my issue, I have both with this. Don't condone a thing he's done, and I think he should also be banned from driving. But my issue with this is the father in that car, and I've tweeted about this today, that not only was he not looking after himself driving and videoing, not looking after his daughter, he wasn't looking after other drivers on the road. I have a massive issue with this. For 15 seconds of fame, he could have caused an almighty crash and God knows what else, just to goad a Liverpool, ex-Liverpool legend. I understand they're Man United fans. What do you think, Soph?
I think spitting at anybody is one of the most disgusting and disgraceful things a human being can do. And I don't call me crazy, but I think it's worse than punching someone in the face. I just think it's absolutely disgusting behavior. Now, the driver in the car, agree with everything you said. That number one, shouldn't be videoing. I hate seeing people text, and I hate seeing people use their phones when they're driving, especially when there's a child in the car. Everything, all that is true. Now, the driver just did a little bit of banter, did he? He didn't use the C word. He didn't call him a wanker. He didn't say anything really horrible to him. He just said, "Hey, Jamie, 2121." And Jamie didn't even say anything back in return. His immediate reaction was to spit at that car, knowing there was a child in the passenger seat. And so I think what he's done is disgraceful and disgusting. I have a personal Jamie Carragher story that I would love to share with you guys, but I don't think I can. And to be honest with you, I think this is indicative of someone's character. When he says this isn't the real me, really? Then why would you do that? I think when people, yes, can react in the heat of the moment, but having a personal story about him that shows a little bit of his character, I think that, I really question him as a human being now, to be honest with you. And should he be the face of Sky Sports? I don't think so.
Okay, but then I have a slight take on this, that sometimes good people do bad things. I'm not saying his stories or whatever, we're not going to go into that. But I think I don't know. I haven't seen the interview. All I would say is it is disgusting, but being punched in the face, Soph, is more painful. Okay. This is where we've had this conversation about Suarez biting and stuff like that. Would you rather have a broken leg or a bite on your shoulder sort of thing?
But someone's spit, someone's saliva. You don't know if they're sick. You don't know it's disgusting.
I know it's disgusting. Of course I'm not. It's made me feel sick when I saw it last night. Demian, what do you think?
I agree with Sophie. I mean, the act of spitting to me is just disgusting and vile. And it basically means, in my mind, you're so worthless and below and beneath me that I'm not even going to punch you. I'm not even going to touch you. I'm just going to spit. I just think it's awful and I don't like it. On its value, the face value, like objectively speaking, it's terrible. Nobody should spit at anybody and so on and so forth. Especially with a child, especially with a female in the car, I take an issue with. And I just don't think there's an excuse. And I think people should control their anger and control their emotions better. But, this is me telling you sitting down in a bed in California. I haven't been goaded. I haven't been insulted in the past. And, it's probably a difficult situation to be in for Jamie,
Yep, I understand. So I'm just going to move it onto a lighter note, because this podcast for once has been a bit positive, because it's not been like Groundhog podcast day, is it? It's been nice. No. So we're going to move on to a little bit of fun. Those listeners know exactly what's coming next. Demian, it's Snog, Marry, Avoid.
All right.
These are your choices. Aubameyang, I can't even still say his name, Mkhitaryan or Lacazette?
Ooh. Ha. Okay. I would, avoid, is it? Lacazette?
Oh.
Okay.
I just have a feeling that he's going to be down and out for a while. I don't know if he has the personality to come back stronger after Aubameyang got into the team and so on and so forth. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know much about him either. So I would guess I would avoid him. I would, marry Aubameyang because I like his taste in cars, and, he would have money and splash it, and he would be a cool guy to hang out with, I guess. You put him in a weird situation. And I would snug Mkhitaryan.
Amazing.
Yes, I don't know why. No reason why, just by default, for pure math.
I think it's the Armenian food. That would be a feast.
Oh,
have a nice feast and then burn it all off, burn the calories off with a good old-fashioned snog.
Oh, so you're going to go for him then, Soph?
Yeah, I think I'm going to snog Mkhitaryan because, technically I should, last minute change. Actually, I'm going to switch this up. I'm going to marry Mkhitaryan because the Armenian and the Greek cultures are very similar. We have very similar foods. I think we'll have a riot. I think his family, my family, we'd have lots of good old fashioned parties. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to snog Lacazette because I think that, he's kind of cute. He kind of reminds me of, I'm going to snog Lacazette, and I'll just leave it at that. And I'm going to avoid Aubameyang because I didn't really like his behavior at Dortmund in the last few months. And so he's got a little bit to prove to me off the pitch with his temperament, his mood, and his general behavior.
Okay, so I'm snogging Mkhitaryan because I just think he'd be fun. I want to marry Lacazette because I want to look after him because I think his confidence is shot, and I'd mother him and look after him. And Aubameyang I would avoid as well because I don't like his hair and he's not grown on me yet. I'm sure I'm going to love him in 6 months' time.
Lovely jubbly.
I know. So it's prediction time, and it's about time we heard from Sophia and Seema. What's your predictions, girls?
Hey girls, so sorry I couldn't be with you guys tonight, but here is my AC Milan prediction. I don't think AC Milan can be as bad as they were at the San Siro, to the point where they made us look good. I think they were poor and we were okay. We took advantage of it. I think they'll come to the Emirates and play much better, to the point where I think they'll beat us. They'll beat us 2-1, but I think that we will go through in the tie 3-2 overall. So we'll lose 2-1 at the Emirates, but we'll go through 3-2. And that's my prediction. See you later.
Hi guys, I'm really sorry I couldn't make it on with you guys tonight. Unfortunately, I had to work. But for my prediction for the game this week, Arsenal at home against AC Milan, I do agree with Sophia. I don't think AC Milan played their best last week. I think they'll be much better this week. However, with our confidence with the last 2 wins against them and against Watford, I do think we will still make it through to the next round, and I think it'll be a 1-1. Bye.
Thanks, girls. So, Demian, we've never had a fan do this, so come on, AC Milan on Thursday.
Okay, so I believe we are going to lose the match 2-1, but we go through in the end.
All right. So Demian's on the same page as Sophia. Seema's 1-1 draw is a good call, I think, but I think this might be a 2-2, Amanda. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. We go through and hopefully continue to march on towards victory in the Europa League.
I love it. But I'm going against all of you. I actually think we're going to win. And I think we're going to win 2-1 to us, not to them. And yes, we will go through. Oh, Sophie, we've had our first guest, our first Arsenal fan. It's fantastic. Demian, have you enjoyed yourself?
Yes, I have, and I cannot thank you enough. You ladies do so many good things for the Arsenal, and we're lucky to have you. And also, I want to say how much I envy, in a good way, the fact that you get to work with people like Lee Dixon and interview Sol Campbell and people like that, even Ryan Giggs, who's been so terrible in my life. You guys are privileged, and I know you know that. And also, I want to commend you and congratulate you for being the strong, beautiful, intelligent, assertive females that you are in a land populated by men. And I know you guys go against the grain on so many fronts, and I just want to say how much I respect that. And also a quick shout out to other bloggers and other fans that are out there, not only listening, but that they put their time and effort into educating us, into bringing news. People like, Pete from Le Grove and Miles Palmer and everybody else. So I want to thank all of you for doing what you do and keeping me sane as I deal with music. But I just love the Arsenal.
Wow.
Standing ovation. You can't see me, but I am standing for Demian.
I am bowing to that.
Yes.
No bow, my lady. No bow.
Well, what about your podcast? Why don't you give that a plug before we go?
Sure. I've been hosting for the past 109 weeks a podcast called The Music Mentor Podcast. And what I aim to do is to motivate and inspire and challenge and empower young musicians or people of every walk of life that want to accomplish their dreams and goals in music, through either anecdotes or personal experiences through my career, interviews with other people, and so on and so forth. So you can check it out. It's on iTunes, on Podcast Addict, and wherever you go. But make sure you listen to Highbury and Heels before.
Wicked.
Well, I'd like to, on behalf of Sophie, Sophia and Seema, thank you for coming on and spending your time with us. It's just been so enjoyable. And one thing that I've picked up with you is that you keep saying a foreign fan, a foreign fan. There's no such thing. You're Arsenal through and through, whether you live in Australia, Africa, America, Iceland, or around the Emirates. We're all Arsenal fans. So never ever feel that you are less worthy, okay?
I love that, and I thank you. And like I said on Twitter, my famous hashtag, Wenger out, Heels in.
Yes, we like that. Oh, Demian, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank you,
mate.
ladies.
Thanks. Take care. Thank you
care.
so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Sophie, what a fabulous first guest. I loved it.
How epic was he? He's brilliant. He's always so supportive to us on Twitter. And like he said, I know he's been listening to TalkSport for a while as well. He's embraced the whole squad, and to have that kind of support out there, you know, that's why we're able to do the show that we do. And it's amazing. And he was super smart, very articulate, and knows his football and has some great insights too. So, he's set the bar high, hasn't he, for Fan of the Week?
Oh, hasn't he just? Would you like to tell everyone how they get on for Fan of the Week? Or have you done that?
Absolutely. I did that at the beginning of the show, but quickly, if you want to be Fan of the Week, just hit us up on Twitter, 140 characters. Let us know why you think you should be on Highbury and Heels chatting with the squad as Fan of the Week. And you can find us at Highbury Heels on Twitter, at Highbury Heels on YouTube, and Highbury and Heels on Facebook. Amanda, back to you.
Please leave us comments. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you love, what you don't love. We love conversing with you at any point of any day. Roughly over 24 hours, one of us is awake because of our time zones. So we love hearing from you, good and bad. We love constructive criticism because we do this for you lot. And as we finish, always Arsenal.
Hey guys, this is Demian, and I was the first ever Fan of the Week on Highbury and Heels.